So we're less than 2 hours away from week 25 starting off with Orlando, New York Red Bulls. But before we get into this MLS Saturday and we start to witness the teams that wants to separate themselves from the pack. Earlier this week, it was announced that ESPN will not be renewing it will not broadcast Big Ten games because they disagreed to the Big Ten and ESPN couldn't come to an agreement on a contract, basically. So Big Ten will no longer be broadcast on ESPN on Saturdays for the foreseeable future. And a lot of people are talking about the other conferences that ESPN should go after as a result of that. Your Pac-12s, your Big 12, American, Mountain West, those other conferences. But for me, I'm thinking, this is an opportunity for the MLS to potentially take those spots. Now, am I saying that MLS, or that during that whole afternoon, that only MLS games should be broadcasted? No, because we all know that's not going to happen. But this is a good opportunity for the MLS to negotiate some kind of deal with ESPN, because one thing we do know is that the Apple TV is not the only broadcasting deal. The MLS is still either going to get a deal, like a linear cable deal with either ESPN or Fox or maybe Turner Sports. We don't know yet. Well, if you're the MLS, you got to be thinking this is an opportunity for us to showcase our brand in the early afternoons. Now, I don't know how the Saturday scheduling is going to look with the SEC because that's ESPN's prize jewel. That's their bread and butter. But what if there are some time slots available? Most of the SEC games may be like in the evening time, like between the times of 6 and 9. If there are some time slots available for another league to show on Saturday, whether if it's 12 noon or 3 p.m., I think the MLS should try to get in on that. This notion that the MLS can't compete with college football as a whole is nonsense. It's not true. This notion that MLS will get no viewership during the same time that college football is being played, I don't believe that. The MLS can compete with college football. There is no doubt in my mind that Atlanta United can compete with the Georgia Bulldogs on a Saturday. There's no doubt in my mind that Austin can compete with the Texas Longhorns on a Saturday. There's no doubt in my mind that LAFC can compete with USC and UCLA on a Saturday. If San Jose was serious about winning championships, man, Stanford and Cal Berkeley couldn't even touch them. Stanford and Cal Berkeley would have to clean their shoes if San Jose was serious about football, about winning championships. If David Beckham and the Moss brothers, whenever they decide to take championships serious, whenever David Beckham and the Moss brother decides to turn Miami into a serious title contender, them too can compete with the Hurricanes on a Saturday. See, you people who believe that MLS can't compete with gridiron football, well, it's because most of you are either baby boomers or you're just short-sighted. You're not looking ahead. You're not paying attention to the cultural changes that's taking place in this country. Now, historically, because of gridiron football, traditional football in this country has been a summer sport. But realistically, football is a year-round sport. The sport can be played in the summer, spring, fall, or summer. This game can be played any season. Yes, even in snow, this game can still be played in snow. This is a year-round sport. And if you're the MLS, you see, this is the decade where people are acknowledging that America has a legitimate professional soccer league. This is the decade where people are going to pay more attention to your league, more Americans and people around the world are going to start paying more attention to your league because we have a World Cup coming up in 2026. Now, let me be honest. A lot of people, yes, there's a World Cup going on this year, but because of the circumstances and the politics in that particular location, a lot of people are not excited about this year's World Cup. The World Cup that a lot of people are really looking forward to is 2026. So in preparation for that, people want to know, what is American soccer really all about? Has American soccer truly evolved since 1994 when I don't think there is any soccer specific stadium around that time. All those games, all those World Cup games were played at college football stadiums and NFL stadiums. This is why, for me personally, this is the reason why I'm saying in 2026 that the game should be played at soccer-specific stadiums so the world can see how American soccer has evolved since 1994. If all of the games are played at college football and NFL stadiums, the perception will still be that this is not a soccer nation. But I'm gonna talk about that in another monologue. So MLS, either 12 noon or 3 p.m. is good for exposure. See, MLS, the Apple TV deal is good, but you still want to use the cable networks, the linear TV, as platforms to promote your league for people who are at sports bars, which is an industry that is eventually going to die because of Apple TV and the other streaming services. But anyhow, you want to use, sports bars, when people are at the barber shops, when people are at the mall and they're just walking by in a public space and they see a TV and they see a game on and they see MLS. Even though they're walking by, they'd be like, that thought will still be in their head. Well, let me elaborate more on the sports bar aspect. So you having a game on during the same time as a college football game when somebody's at the sports bar. We all know how many commercials gridiron football, especially college football games, go to because of their thousands of corporate sponsors and So college football games go on a lot of commercials. So somebody that's at a sports bar watching their Ohio State game, when that game goes on a commercial, they can just look at another TV and they see MLS. Because that's what people at sports bars do. Like when there's multiple TVs in there and they're watching their favorite team on that one major television. But then when that game goes on commercial, they look at another TV to see what other games are going on because people are not really interested in watching commercials. So they look at another TV while their game is on commercial and they see MLS. So for that brief, like 1 to 3 minutes of commercial time, you'll be able to promote your league during that time. And each time that gridiron football game go on commercial, they'll just look over to the MLS. Why? Because traditional football does not have multiple commercial breaks as gridiron football. As a result of that, you'll be able to promote your league a little bit more than the Big Ten and the SEC. So that's just something for you to think about, MLS. I don't know when it comes to the linear partners, who is the forerunner right now, who's going to be the major MLS partner when it comes to linear TV. Maybe it'll be ESPN, maybe it'll be Fox. The reason why I'm always bringing up ESPN as, number one, because ESPN is the worldwide leader in sports. Like, even though they do a terrible job at promoting the sport, they're still interested in broadcasting the games. And maybe you, MLS, will be able to teach ESPN how to promote your league the way that they promote NBA and NFL. I know Fox exists in sports, Turner Sports, CBS, NBC. I just think that the MLS relationship with Disney, I don't think it should end. I really think that both sides, both MLS and Disney, both sides will benefit by working together. But that's just my little 2 cents. So enjoy your Saturday, your MLS Saturday, and I'll talk to you later.